Hey, T-Sippers. Hey, T-Sippers. Happy Friday. Happy May the 1st. Happy May the 1st. Come on in, come on in, come on in. We gotta spin the bin. Come on in, come on in. Can we start our Friday off with a prayer? I like that. I like that God prayer. Did y'all like the prayer? I did. I just think it's just good. Just in case we get lost in the sauce, start acting up. We're gonna start out with prayer. We're gonna let God lead us and guide us. I need to also send condolences to a young lady I know. Her grandson, her great grandson was unalived by friendly fire. She sent me a message today and asked for me to share it. I asked her what happened, and she said that the baby mama, I think he's what, 3, 4 months. He might look older than that. Uh, New boyfriend left a weapon. Either he unalived the baby, or he left a weapon for the child to get a hold to. So we gonna ask for prayer for that family. Let me see if I can show the picture. Still want to show her name. His name was Kyrie. Yeah, he was a baby. He was a baby. God bless the family. God bless the family. See, can y'all see the baby? So as we pray this morning, we are praying for the family as well. This baby who lost his life for whatever reason. I guess I had it on it too. Can we do that? We're going to pray for us, and we're going to pray for this family. I don't know how you get over that. I'm going to be honest. I don't know how you can get over that. It's hard for us to get over when adults have lost their life. Now, a baby, I don't know how to get over that. So may God give them peace that surpasses our understanding. And may this baby get justice. Y'all ready? The ones that's here, let's go.
Dear God, I'm praying over this person's Friday, May 1st. God, I pray that, dear God, I'm praying over this person's Friday, May 1st. God, I pray that every blessing you have for them is for them. What you have for
Can
them
y'all hear?
today is uniquely theirs. What you have for them, nobody can block it. Nobody can steal it. Nobody can snatch it from them. 1 Corinthians 2:9 says, eye hasn't seen, ear hasn't heard all that you have planned for them. I pray that you open your heart to receive everything you have for them, Jesus. God, give them wisdom to know how to handle it. Give them a spirit of expectancy so they can see it coming. And God, give them humility to know that every good and every perfect gift is not from their own effort, but comes directly from you, Father. God, I pray for peace over their mind right now. Philippians 4:7 says, your peace surpasses all understanding. So I ask that you guard their heart and their thoughts today. Silence every anxious thought, every doubt, every fear, every worry, and replace them with calm, with confidence and clarity. Lord, strengthen them today. Isaiah 41 verse 10 says, do not fear, for you are with them. Do not be dismayed, for you are their God. So God, hold them up with your righteous right hand. When they feel tired, be their strength. When they feel uncertain, be their assurance. Father, I pray that favor surrounds them like a shield on today. Psalm 5 verse 12 says that you bless the righteous and surround them with favor. So let doors open that no man can shut. Bring divine connections, unexpected opportunities, and good news into their life today. I pray that everything they put their hands to prospers. Deuteronomy 28:12 says, you will bless the work of their hands. So let productivity, excellence, and success follow them in everything they do today. Lord, protect them. Psalm 121:7-8 says that you will keep them from all harm and watch over their coming and going, both now and forevermore. So I ask that you cover them as they travel to work, to school, as they move throughout the day. Keep them safe physically, mentally, and spiritually. Father, I pray for joy to rise up in them today. Nehemiah 8:10 says the joy of the Lord is their strength, even if things today. Lord, protect them. Psalm 121:7-8 says that you will keep them from all harm and watch over their coming and going, both now and forevermore. So I ask that you cover them as they travel to work, to school, as they move throughout the day. Keep them safe physically, mentally, and spiritually. Father, I pray for joy to rise up in them today. Nehemiah 8:10 says the joy of the Lord is their strength. Even if things don't look perfect, let joy fill their heart anyway. God, remind them that you are working all things together for their good. Romans 8:28 says that in all things you work for the good of those who love you. So even what they don't understand right now, you are already turning it around in their favor. I pray that today would be marked by your presence. Let them feel you with them in every moment. Let them hear your voice clearly. John 10:27 says that your sheep hear your voice. So guide their decisions, order their steps, and align them with your perfect will. I pray that anything sent to discourage them, delay them, distract them, is canceled right now in the name of Jesus. No weapon formed against them shall prosper. Give them focus, discipline, and the strength to keep on moving forward. God, let this be a Friday breakthrough, a day where things shift in their favor, a day where prayers are answered, a day where burdens are lifted, a day where they see your hands move in their life in a real and undeniable way. And Father, above all, remind them who they are. They are a chosen people, a royal priesthood. So let them walk in confidence today, knowing they belong to you. Thank you for waking them up this morning. Thank you for breath in their body. Thank you for another chance, another opportunity, another day to walk in your purpose. I pray all these things in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Have a blessed Friday.
Ooh. Amen. Amen. Okay, let's go to what we got next. Okay, so I got
All right, President Trump does spoke to reporters ahead of his trip to Florida. So let's listen to that big updates.
So they want to make a deal, but I'm not satisfied with it. So we'll see what happens.
who wants to make
Iran
a
wants to make a
quit
deal
lying.
because they have no military left, essentially, and they want to make a deal, but I'm not satisfied with it. Because it's never been sought before. There's been many times, and nobody's ever gotten it before. They consider it totally unconstitutional. But we're always in touch with Congress. But nobody's ever sought it before. Nobody's ever asked for it before. It's never been used before. Why should we be different? We have great respect for Pakistan and Islamabad, and tremendous respect for the Prime Minister and the Field Marshal. And they're working with us. They continue to work with us. But the trip is a very long one, and we're doing everything in terms of negotiation right now. In terms of the negotiation telephonically, they've made strides, but I'm not sure if they ever get there. There's tremendous discord. There's tremendous, they're having a tremendous problem getting along with each other in Iran. The leadership is very disjointed. It's got 2 to 3 groups, maybe 4, and it's a very disjointed leadership. And with that being said, they all want to make it a deal, but they're all messed up. I spoke with your winner, very good man. As you know, I was very strongly in favor of him in Iraq. And we had a long conversation yesterday. I congratulated him. He won, and with our help he won, and we want him to do very well. And I told him that the United States is with him all the way. It was a great victory. The new head of Iraq is somebody that we support very strongly. I know everything about it. I have great respect. Are you from Pakistan? I have great respect for Pakistan and for the Field Marshal and for the Prime Minister. Yeah, I do.
Yesterday you talked about Italy and the
well, I'm not happy with Italy, and I'm not happy with Spain. And they've done.
Hey, naturally
they feel
known.
it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Anybody that feels it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon is not very smart. And it'll be a terrible thing in the future. If they were ever allowed to have a nuclear weapon, you would have problems the likes of which the world has never seen before, and it's not going to happen. And aside from that, right now they have no Navy, it's been wiped out, no Air Force, it's been wiped out. They have no anything. They have no anti-aircraft, they have no radar, they have no leaders. Because frankly,
She's lying.
their leaders are...
And baby, they working together.
They're not getting along.
Russia and China against him.
We raised the tariff on cars coming in from the European Union because the European Union was not adhering to the trade deal we have. So based on that, now, when they build their plans, of which they're spending over $100 billion, all countries, not just the Union. And when those plans open, there won't be any tariffs. But we raised the tariffs because they were not, as usual, they were not adhering to the agreement of them. We have a trade deal with the European Union.
All right, you're listening to President Trump there outside the White House, taking questions from reporters. He's on his way to Florida, but again, he stopped by to take some questions from reporters as they ask about the ongoing war with Iran. Let's listen in.
They essentially have no military.
Lying.
Let me just tell you, the war power. So many presidents, as you know, have gone and exceeded it. It's never been used. It's never been adhered to, and every other president considered it totally unconstitutional, and we agree with that. China, it's going to be amazing. The visit with China and Chairman Xi, that's going to be great. We have the trip with China coming up, and I think it'll be an amazing event.
Mr. President, if you can't get a deal on Iran, what next? What will you do?
Well, right now we have negotiations going on. They're not getting there. They are very disjointed. They're extremely disjointed. They're not able to get along with each other as leaders. They don't know who the leader is. Their military's been defeated. If we left right now, it would take them 20 years to build back that country. But we're not satisfied at this moment. Why would I tell you that?
Spirit Airlines, what has been the holdup on the deal? Are they
Looking at it, we're looking at trying to help them. Something we're not looking to get involved with, but if we can, it's 14,000 jobs. I would say we're driving a tough deal, but it's one of those things. We'll do it or we won't. We'll have something for you in dinner tomorrow.
It seems like the other lenders are balking. They think they'll get bumped down in priority.
Well, they will. We come first. Hey, you know what it is? USA first, America first, including with airlines, including with Intel. You know, we made an Intel deal, you know that, right? We made about $40 billion on that, and someday Fox and Peter's going to talk about it. But we helped out Intel, and we ended up making $40 billion. So we're looking at Spirit, different kind of a thing, but we're looking at Spirit, and we can help them, we will, but we have to come first. We're first. It's America first.
The CEO of Anthropic came to meet Susie Wiles a week or two ago. What is the latest on your position on that company?
Well, only that they had a very good meeting.
You had a CENTCOM commander come in here yesterday. Was he briefing you on a different approach? Options? What kind of options? How would it look different?
Do we want to go and just blast the hell out of them and finish him forever, or do we want to try and make a deal? I mean, those are the options.
Do you want to go blast the hell out of them?
I'd prefer not. On a human basis, I'd prefer not, but that's the option. Do we want to go in there heavy and just blast them away, or do we want to do something? They're a very disjointed leadership, as you can understand, Peter, very disjointed. I mean, they're not getting along with each other, and it puts us in a bad position. One group wants to make a certain deal, the other group wants to make a certain deal, including the hardliners. The hardliners want to make a deal too. Why wouldn't they? They have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft, they have no nothing.
There was some reports this week that because of all the firepower required for epic fury, that there are people in the White House who are starting to worry about our inventory of bombs and missiles. Are you worried?
No, we have more than we've ever had, actually. Because all over the world we have inventory, and we can take that if we need it. But all over the world we have tremendous amounts of inventory, the best. For instance, we're stocked and locked and loaded. Right now, we have more than double what we had when this started. But, you know, we're all over the world. We're in many, many different countries, many different places, all packed up. Now, what happened is Biden came in like a stupid fool, and he gave a lot of what we had to Ukraine. And $350 billion they spent. We don't do that. Everybody has to pay. The European Union pays us, but Biden didn't get money. He got nothing. But he gave a lot of the inventory away. Now, relatively speaking, it's not that much, but it was a lot of inventory. He gave it to Ukraine. We built it up, but we have inventory from all over the world.
Full of crap.
Will you go to it?
Probably.
Mr. President, what's the last
What about NATO?
Did the king change your mind? King Charles.
No. The king and I had a great, he's just a great person. He's a high quality person. I love the job he did in Congress. He actually got the Democrats to stand. He's a wonderful person. She's a wonderful lady, a wonderful queen. And we had a good time.
Mr. President, will the Lebanese Israeli leaders be meeting here soon at the White House?
Yeah, they're going to be coming.
President Trump, when you go to this is going to be your first big public event since somebody tried to kill you on Saturday. Do you feel safe going to something like this?
I don't even think about it, Peter.
You still support a pardon for Pete Rose, sir?
Oh, I think Pete Rose is great. I think Pete Rose should have been in the Baseball Hall of Fame a long time ago. A long time ago before his death. I think baseball did a great disservice by not respecting his achievements on the field. He was a great player. I knew him. I knew him well. Sir. He was a great player.
Would you pardon him? It seems like it would happen if you're blockade and you don't have to restart the war or you don't have to make a deal. Is that correct? Are you happy with the blockade?
The blockade has been unbelievable. Powerful, 100%. It's been actually unbelievable. If we left right now, we had a great victory, but we're not doing that. We're negotiating with them. Their teams are unbelievably disjointed, but we are negotiating.
Mr. President, the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 posted their biggest monthly gains since your first term, sir. Can you talk about what this means to you, the stock market performance, and do you believe that this is going to continue throughout the rest of your term?
Thank you. The stock market is hitting record numbers. We have more people working in the USA today than we've ever had working, as you know. It's in many ways. Now, when this war ends, gasoline and oil and everything is going to come tumbling down. But right now, as of this moment, the stock market has hit record highs. We have more people, again, working in the United States today than at any time in the history of our country. We are really doing well. Now, gasoline's high, other prices are way down, but gasoline's high. But when this is over, you'll have a world without a nuclear weapon with Iran. If you allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon, the world would be...
He's still talking the same old mess. He can't move his talking points. And it's a lie.
You're going down to the villages. You're going to be talking to our seniors. You've delivered for seniors, no tax on Social Security.
They say he better...
Can you talk about everything
He better...
to help our
I'm going to let y'all hear. They send some strong, stern messages to him.
We have the largest tax cuts in the history of our country also, and regulation cuts, and it's one of the reasons we're doing so well. So we have no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security for our seniors. We have no tax on overtime. And you know, something that nobody talks about, if you buy a car, if it's American made, you get a deduction on interest for income tax. And by the way, very important, right over there, the greatest, you're going to have the greatest ballroom ever built. It's on time, on budget, and it's doing great.
And Mr. President, you're going to be hosting the first ever UFC fight at the White House in 45 days, sir. Can you preview the event? Can you talk about the card and what this will mean?
They have some of the greatest champions in the world. The arena, they're going to start building it over the next week. It's right here. It'll be about 5,000 seats. They'll have 100,000 people down by the Ellipse with screens, and it's all free. It's going to be great.
All right, so you've been listening to President Trump outside the White House there, taking
Lying.
questions from reporters before he heads out to Florida.
Oh, Lord, I'm sorry. I'm paid.
Right now with our Olivia Ronaldo.
I'm just listening.
Good to see you again today.
And I done missed all. Hey, Room Shaker. Hey, Crystal. Hey, let me see.
Hey, Lugo, a lot of ground is covered there by the president talking to the press. First, he did say
Somebody message got hidden naturally and all that. Hey, y'all.
We talked about that earlier this hour. This is the
Jam
another
Trump.
proposal that the Iranians had said after the president rejected their initial proposal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and talk about the nuclear issue.
Jam
later.
WS.
Instead, the president said he received the next deal, but he did say
He had
I'm
a
not
boo-boo
satisfied with it. That is
in
the
his
headline from
his
that.
pamphlet.
This could have been a big breakthrough. This could have been perhaps a sign that they were ready to come to the table and make a deal. The president seems to be rejecting the latest proposal from them. He also was talking about the groups inside of Iran. He said there are 3 to 4 different groups inside who can't make up their minds. He said they're, quote, all messed up. He's also not happy and not satisfied with the deal that they gave, as we talked about. The president also did confirm that he is still going to visit China in 2 weeks. That was notable to me because, of course, that initial visit was supposed to happen end of March, beginning of April. It ended up being postponed because of the war in Iran, security reasons as well. And even though the war is still raging on, the president says he is still going to go. On the ceasefire, the president was asked, given the fact that he is saying that this proposal is no good and he is not satisfied with it, well, what is he willing to do with the Iranians if he is going to, quote, blast the hell out of them? The president said, I prefer not to from a humanitarian standpoint, but said he's not going to broadcast what he's planning to do, other than saying he's just not happy with the Iranians right now. But he said he is happy with the blockade that is in place that this administration needs, is squeezing the Iranians and getting them to a point where they are starting to capitulate. But perhaps not enough, as the president says he is not okay with their latest proposal. As also quite notable that he was asked about the War Powers Act, which we also talked about, the fact that it's been 60 days. So typically you can have this war authorization for 60 days, but after that, Congress has to formally declare war under the War Powers Act, and then this conflict can continue. The president did say, not specifically, let me just pull up the quote, he said, let me just tell you on the war powers, so many presidents have gone and exceeded it. It's never been used, it's never been adhered to, and every other president considered it totally unconstitutional, and we agree with that. So notable there, he is not planning to ask Congress if they can continue this conflict for longer. We also know there have been Republicans on Capitol Hill who have been expressing a little bit of concern and worry about, one, the president not asking for that authorization, and two, just the price tag associated with this war. We know Pentagon officials on Capitol Hill yesterday said it was $25 billion, but our CBS News reporting suggests it is closer to $50 billion, which is a big price tag for 60 days. So a lot of ground covered there by the president. I also want to note he did say at one point gasoline prices are high right now. I'm curious to see what the stock market is doing after the president said that. He said they're high right now, but they're going to come down. But I think any concession at all from him that they are high, that Americans are feeling that, as you know and as we talked about, it's at a 4-year high that Americans are paying right now at the pump. And for the president to admit that on his way out to go make a sales pitch to people in Florida at the villages that his tax cuts are working was very notable to me, Hugo.
All right, and you're not at the White House for us today. You really took us step by step through a lot of what the president had to say. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Let's go. What's my next one? He getting threats and warning.
Donald Trump is losing it as Iran has issued a coordinated and final warning.
Did y'all hear that? I almost choked. Did y'all hear that? Coordinate. Coordinated. I just tried to tell y'all. It only showed, oh boy, him. But China on one side of him and Russia on the other. They making deals and coordinating. Right on around him. They are not playing. And then this one right here, I don't know what it's gonna look like when it pop up. Yeah, right here. Bibi Netanyahu hand. He waving his hand, but it's saying that the meeting that he had planned to come and hang out at the White House like the king, we know he probably canceled because he ain't alive. But his his replacement, I guess, I don't know. But they ain't feeling him either. They ain't feeling him either. Oh yeah, let's go. When he said coordinate, he ain't lying. They coordinating right on around his ass. They got plans for him and why he doing all that lying. That's why King Charles says, stop lying. Stop all that lying. Your word is your bond. Yeah, we supposed to trust what comes out of America's mouth. And right now you full of poop in your pants. You full of beep. Yeah. Stop lying. Talking about you respect me and my royalty and all that. He wished I was a part of that family and all that type of shit there. The king says, stop lying. Sit your ass down. Stop lying. Checks and balances. Y'all need to check him, boo. Hello? Check him, boo. Yeah. So come on, that's it. But baby, when I heard coordinate, ain't never lying. And the general, after this one, the general gonna hook us up as well. Let's go.
As Iran has issued a coordinated and final warning
Final.
through its social media accounts as well as through the Ayatollah himself. Iran
Final
saying
warning.
if you continue your naval blockade, your sailors will end up at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh.
Here's an animated video that has been posted across the Iranian social
I'm scared
media
to show
accounts.
them.
Then
Well,
Donald
yeah, I can
Trump
show y'all now.
responded as well. Here's an animated video that has been posted across the Iranian social media accounts. Then Donald Trump responded as well. I'll tell you what his response is in a moment. Hinted it involves market manipulation and using Barack Ravid of Axios as his stenographer yet again. But the Iranian embassies all posted this video right here. The Persian Gulf's bright future is America free. We share a co-destiny with our neighbors. Greedy outsiders who travel thousands of miles to spread evil here will find their place only in
doing the devil's work.
Our waters is what they're posting. And earlier this morning, the Ayatollah Mojaba posted, America's paper tiger bases can't even secure themselves, let alone the regional American worshiper.
What?
Posting. And earlier this morning, the Ayatollah Mojaba posted, America's paper tiger bases can't even secure themselves, let alone the regional American worshippers. And then he writes, the Persian Gulf is a blessing that transcends a mere expanse of blue waters. It is part of our identity and civilization. And what he's also referencing right there is the news this morning from CNN that at least 16
you can't even
American
protect yourself.
Transcends a mere expanse of blue waters. It is part of the regional American worshippers. And then he writes, the Persian Gulf is a blessing that transcends a mere expanse of blue waters. It is part of our identity and civilization. And what he's also referencing right there is the news this morning from CNN that at least 16 American military sites have been damaged in Iranian strikes, with most of those sites being totally destroyed and many of them being significantly harmed, requiring lots of repairs. But this is far more damage that has been sustained than Donald Trump, CENTCOM, or anyone else from this regime has disclosed. It is really bad, folks. Now, Barack Ravid, who is a reporter at Axios, and who is also Donald Trump's chief outside propagandist, he's basically Donald Trump's stenographer, and every Friday we do Market Manipulation Friday with Barack Ravid, and then Donald Trump sends on his MAGA sycophant stooges onto state regime media. It's Friday, so it's Trump Market Manipulation Friday. So about an hour or so ago, Barack Ravid posted the following message. Iran gives the U.S. new response on draft peace deal. My report.
I saw pictures of our planes that have been destroyed. Oh, wow, yes. It's pretty bad.
Sent a list of amendments
while he over here in La La Land.
Nuclear issue back into the draft text per source.
Did y'all catch that? While he over here in La La, not, you know, L-I-E, La La Land. Fake dinners, you know, fake relationship, you know, just everything fake. And you got our men and women over there fighting for something other than our cause, fighting for another. It ain't even a country. It's not even a country. It's not a nation. It's political purposes. The state of Israel is a political movement. What other country have a state over there? I mean, state of, oh my God, it's just so man-made. It's like these lies are man-made. And to think that before Charlie Kirk was assassinated by his own people, his own mega supporter, 90% of the people was thinking it was Israel, was the Israel Jacob. And how, I do not know. Let it keep playing. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Let's go.
Significantly harmed, requiring lots of repairs, but this is far 16 American military sites
It's more than
have
that.
been damaged
All the
in
sites.
Iranian strikes, with most of those sites being totally destroyed.
Look at that.
And many of them being significantly harmed, requiring lots of repairs.
U.S.
But this
Air
is
Force.
far more damage, being significantly harmed
On a fake war.
requiring lots of repairs. But
It's
this
a
is
real war for
far
fake
more
reasons.
damage that has been sustained than Donald Trump, them being
They making money
significantly
off the
harmed,
war. Steady
requiring
begging.
lots of repairs, but this is
Not
far
even feeding
more
them.
damage that has been sustained than Donald Trump, CENTCOM, or anyone else from this regime has disclosed. It is really bad, folks. Now, Barack Ravid, who is a reporter,
I'm sorry.
is
Let's
also
hear this.
referencing right there is the news this morning from CNN that at least 16 American military sites have been damaged in Iranian strikes, with most of those sites being totally destroyed and many of them being significantly harmed, requiring lots of repairs. But this is far more damage that has been sustained than Donald Trump, CENTCOM, or anyone else from this regime has disclosed. It is really bad, folks. Now, Barack Ravid, who is a reporter at Axios, and who is also Donald Trump's chief outside propagandist. He's basically Donald Trump's stenographer, and every Friday we do Market Manipulation Friday with Barack Ravid, and then Donald Trump sends on his MAGA sycophant stooges onto state regime media. It's Friday, so it's Trump Market Manipulation
Y'all
Friday.
please hit the like button.
So about an hour or so ago, Barack Ravid posted the following message. Iran gives the U.S. new response on draft peace deal. My report. And he says on Monday, White House envoy Steve Witkoff sent a list of amendments that focus on inserting the nuclear issue back into the draft text, per sources with knowledge. The source said that one of the amendments included a demand that Iran commit not to try to move any of the enriched uranium. And then they said Iran has now responded to Witkoff's counter-proposal. And Iran's like, what are you talking about? What are you even talking about? So then Barack Ravid, whose source is probably Witkoff and Kushner, and maybe Rubio, but it's probably Kushner and Witkoff, like as though we don't realize that. So then Barack Ravid goes to have this conversation right here with the White House, and here's what he says. He goes, we asked the White House for a response. And then the White House says, we do not detail private diplomatic conversations. Donald Trump has been clear that Iran can never possess a nuclear weapon, and negotiations continue to ensure the short and long-term national security of the United States, White House spokesperson Anna Kelly said. So they leak it, then he goes and contacts them, then they give that response, and they manipulate the market, then they send on MAGA Republican sycophants like Senator Kennedy, who's out there saying, Donald Trump's got gigantic orange beach balls. His balls are gigantic like orange. This is the strangest, most bizarre cult ever. So you have, this is what's going on with the MAGA sycophants. Play this clip.
Whether you like him or not, any fair-minded person would have to conclude that President Trump has oranges the size of beach balls.
What?
He truly is tough
Driver.
as a pine knot. And it's
True
clear
strap.
to me that in defense of America, he will eat your liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. The whole world knows now that America will fight. And everybody's paying attention, including our enemies and especially Iran.
But then we should focus on the facts, the data, the receipts, the satellite images. Are the statements being made borne out by reality, right? I mean, this is not a political, Democrat, liberal, progressive, conservative. Let's talk about the facts, right? On Sunday, last Sunday, Donald Trump said that Iran had 3 days left before it would run out of storage capacity in its oil pipeline system, which would cause a massive explosion. And the naval blockade by the U.S. in the Persian Gulf is so effective that Iran was going to blow up on Wednesday. Now, that didn't happen. If you were watching the Midas Touch Network, we told you that wasn't going to happen. Corporate news told you that was going to happen. And then when it didn't happen, they just moved on to the next Barack Ravid Axios-driven story and pushed that narrative. But let's focus on the photo of the day, as Javier Blas from Bloomberg puts it. Despite all the talk about the imminent shutdown of Iranian oil wells.
Oh, hold on, let me put it down here. Janet, can you put my cash app down there, please?
Island,
for
according to this satellite imagery right here, taken by the Copernicus EU satellite.
Oh, there you go. I'm sorry, I'm late to the party. I'm sorry.
Iran is still loading oil tankers at Cargill.
Thank you.
One of them is a VLCC, these very large cargo ships. It's actually what the acronym stands for. No sign yet that Tehran has run out of storage, despite baseless claims from the White House. You can literally see in the image, they control the Strait of Hormuz. They have firm control, obviously, of Karg Island, which is part of their territory. And they're taking the oil and they're putting the containers onto container ships. That's what they're doing. And a lot of them are getting past the blockade, going through the territorial waters of Pakistan and hugging the coast. And then separately, you can just take the oil, some of it, and then you can put it through land routes into Pakistan. If Pakistan opens up land routes, which most people believe is what's actually happening. But Donald Trump, you've heard his Oval Office press conference. Why don't they just cry uncle? Just cry uncle. To which the Iranian embassy social media accounts are posting wishful thinking, miscalculation, hubris. The empire is choking on all three, but Iran doesn't blink. A novel concept, maybe try good faith diplomacy for a change. And they're posting clips of Donald Trump this morning like this. Here, play this clip.
Now they have to cry uncle. That's all they have to do. Just say, we give up. We give up.
And then Donald Trump on Iran.
Good and dang well. They're telling you to give up.
At all. We'll see how long they hold out. Overnight, the White House reiterated it was sticking with the naval blockade of Iranian ports. Their economy is crashing. The blockade is incredible, Donald Trump told reporters, and we know that he just recently met with his chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Kane, and he met with the CENTCOM Admiral Brad Cooper. They said, look, if you want, we have a plan for a ground invasion. It's going to cause a lot of casualties, but I don't know, just keeping this naval blockade there indefinitely is not really a plan, is not a strategy. So while Trump is engaged in all of that, what's going on here at home with the American people? As this one account explains, and it's true, the entire U.S. economy right now is basically 7 companies sending $1 trillion fake dollars back and forth between each other, where the markets are doing okay, they're doing decent. Wealthy people who are in the markets are doing okay right now. The rich are getting way richer right now. But what are the American people facing? What are prices like at the pump? What are prices like for farmers? What are prices like for non-farm? For you, is inflation going up? The answer is it's bad out there for 99% of Americans. As Patrick Dehan, the gas buddy guy, explains, at the worst possible time, as farmers look to plant their crops, diesel prices have soared in agricultural states. It'll show up at your grocery store as well. So the prices that farmers now have to pay for diesel, they're going to pass that on to you in addition to Donald Trump's tariffs against the world. Speaking of Donald Trump's tariffs against the world, this morning he posted this moments ago. I'm pleased to announce that based on the fact that the European Union is not complying with our fully agreed to trade deal, next week I will be increasing tariffs charged to the European Union for cars and trucks coming into the United States. The tariff will be increased to 25%. It is fully understood and agreed to that if they produce cars and trucks in USA plants, there will be no tariff. Many automobile and truck plants are currently under construction, with over $100 billion being invested, a record in the history of the car and truck manufacturing. These plants, staffed with American workers, will be opening soon. There has never been anything like this ever happening in the world. It's the greatest ever. Blah, blah, blah. And we all know this guy's a two-bit con artist who just lies about everything. We're doing the tariff thing again. We're doing the 25% tariff on Europe thing again. That's where we're going right now as the American people are suffering. I mean, you take a look at just some of this data as well. And I talked about the explosive rise in prices in diesel. What about the explosive gas price jumps in the last weeks right here? The biggest states hit also. I mean, all the country's been hit, but Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Colorado, Kansas, Kentucky, Florida, Wyoming, Wisconsin. A lot of swing states, a lot of red states also being hit hard. But all states are being hit as well. Goldman Sachs is now forecasting only a 1.3% real income growth in 2026 due to energy price headwinds with significant underperformance
Bibi
among
Netanyahu
lower
and
income
Trump out.
households. In other words, regular folks, regular people out there, other than the billionaires, are struggling right now. Agriculture prices hitting the highest levels in 2.5 years. The ISM manufacturing price index surging to the highest level since early 2022, pointing to significant pipeline inflation there. With all of this going on, you've got Trump's MAGA sycophants like Buddy Carter going on Fox and saying, anything that involves higher prices right now, we know Democrats, higher prices, Democrats, higher prices. Y'all are running the government. These are the lamest group of loser snowflakes ever. Watch Buddy Carter, MAGA Republican, play this clip.
First of all, remember, President Trump promised he'd make us safer and more prosperous. He's made us safer. He's making us safer and making the world safer by assuring that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. And he's made us more prosperous through the Working Families Tax Cut Act that has put more money in people's pockets. Now, yes, we've seen some gas price fluctuation. Gas prices will go back down. Remember, high gas prices are the work of the Democrats. Remember 2022, $5 and $6 a gallon. That was the Democratic leadership that led to those high gas prices. But gas prices are going to come back down. And as we see the economy improve, I'm very confident that in the midterm elections that we're going to come back in the majority both in the House and in the Senate.
All right, we will leave it there. Constance, good to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And again, speaking about what loser snowflakes these MAGAs are, Midas Touch Network host Adam Mockler exposed them. And it's always great to have Mockler out there just, boom, perfect. You saw, I know I showed the clip earlier. I guess got to show it again. Hat tip to Mockler, just completely destroying Scott Jennings. And again, you see what babies these MAGA people are with. You have an argument with them and immediately they start like cursing and screaming. They're sociopaths. You know sociopaths. These are sociopathic, sick people, and I'm glad that Adam Mockler exposed them. Here, play this clip.
I mean, honestly, they have been at war with us for 47 years.
We all know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat?
Homie, I debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going your way.
One political concession. Name one political concession.
Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy.
Everybody, hang tight.
Honestly.
Okay. No, everybody, calm down. Okay. We're having a debate. You can respond to the points that he's making.
Can you name a political concession that we've got here?
We are in a flashback to the war the skinheads had in my studio.
I would be mad if I would be mad if I didn't defend it.
Scott, you can respond.
We have a very simple goal: to keep terrorists and a terrorist regime from having a nuclear weapon that can threaten the United States, our interests in the region, our allies in Europe, anybody else
So
in
you
the world.
can't answer the question.
That is
I
our
would
goal.
get mad too.
All right, we're going to leave it there, guys. Next for us, the president suggests ABC.
And just talking about, what state regime media wants us to be, focused on. Just so you can see the level of propaganda, they're still using the alleged incident at the White House Correspondents' Dinner to try to build sympathy. That's how they're closing the week. Market manipulation. And can we talk about the White House Correspondents' Dinner thing right now? And then they have Mark Wayne Mullen, Donald Trump's Department of Homeland Security Secretary. Donald Trump and Melania was so courageous. Did you see how courageous they are? Play this clip.
And the president was so calm, completely composed, showed remarkable leadership. Melania was cool, as I would say, as a cucumber. Oh my goodness, her and President Trump was just really spending time together.
I think what's clear is that the president and first lady know that they are in great hands.
Yes.
And they feel secure.
That's right.
So that's why they can be calm, and everybody else needs to be able to do their jobs. But
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Pathetic, right? Pathetic. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. You may think you're subscribed, but you may not actually be subscribed, so help us get to 7 million. Let me know if you're subscribed. And join, become a member of the YouTube channel as well. Thanks for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MidasPlus.com.
Donald Trump just rushed and called an emergency meeting in the White House as his entire life is
sorry,
falling
I was
apart.
doing
His
something.
poll numbers are crashing. His MAGA
Hello?
base has abandoned him. Marjorie Taylor Greene continues to publicly mock and humiliate him, along with other former MAGA influencers. Donald Trump is stuck and frozen with respect to this war in Iran. Donald Trump is telling the Congress that he doesn't need to invoke the war power 60-day authorization requirement because he claims that actually there hasn't been any war or open hostilities since early April when we have a ceasefire that we just keep on extending unilaterally. And Congress is like, you still need to come to us for authorization. You can't pretend we're not in a war, Donald. You currently have a naval blockade where you don't know what the hell you are doing. You are frozen in the Persian Gulf trying to pretend you are tough with this naval blockade. Your plan to open the Strait of Hormuz is to further blockade it, but it's not even an effective blockade. And Iran's parliament leader, MB Ghalibaf, is mocking your blockade. He's literally posting maps of the United States and says, you see this map? The country of Iran is bigger than the United States by a significant amount if you look at this map. So you think your little puny blockade is going to somehow stop us from getting out our supplies and our oils to our allies? There's something called the land as well, Donald, and there's something called territorial waters. And those
I'm sorry, I was doing
mediators of
something.
yours that you think are just like all.
Because I think this was yesterday's. I had something else lined up. Because based on these likes, now that was 8 hours. Trump panics and cries, uncle. Oh, well, hell, I'm sorry. Let's go. Let it run. Let it whip. So let it whip. Hit the like button. My bad. Whip it, baby. Whip it right.
All in your pocket, Pakistan. Well, they've opened up land routes for us to utilize to bring our oil and other supplies through the land and through their territorial waters and through the territorial waters of India as well. Also, there's something called the Caspian Sea. And while you're out there inviting Vladimir Putin to the G20 in Miami in order to mock and attack your NATO allies, and while you do phone calls with Vladimir Putin that you don't even tell the Americans about, but the people of the United States learn about it because TASS, Putin's state regime media, talked about the 90-minute phone call. Yeah, Vladimir Putin's helping us out as well because Iran has a plan and Donald Trump's out there just ranting and raving like a lunatic. So Donald Trump rushed in the White House. He called this emergency meeting with his chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Kane, along with the commander of U.S. CENTCOM, Admiral Brad Cooper, which lasted 45 minutes. And they said, Donald, look, you're the commander-in-chief. We can't tell you what to do, but we can lay out for you what a escalation war plan would look like.
Y'all please hit the like button.
Carg Island. and where we engage in more strikes inside Iran, this would potentially lead to catastrophic results. We think it actually would lead to catastrophic results. Tens of thousands of American soldiers would likely be killed. This would likely cause a massive conflagration in the Middle East, way worse than what we saw before. But if this is what you want us to do, we can execute this plan. You're the commander-in-chief. Make a damn decision, Donald. And Donald Trump's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And so Donald Trump, again, he tells Congress, I don't have to go to you for war powers authorization, which has a 60-day mark where if there are hostilities, you have to get Congress's approval, because Trump says, we ain't in a war, we ain't in a war. And so then Donald Trump calls up Greta Van Susteren. I guess she's on Newsmax right now. And Donald Trump's like, Greta, look, we've won the war, okay? I just want to say, we've won the war. I may want to win by a bigger margin. So this is what you took out of this emergency meeting, Donald.
All
You're going to go and just do this shtick again,
it's
where you make
altogether
deranged
just
social
embarrassing
media
and
posts
shameful.
pretending
They
that you win,
can't
while you
even
keep
be
the naval
adults.
blockade while the Strait of Hormuz is closed. And now you're saying you want to win by a bigger margin. You realize that's not the way war works. What do you mean you want to win by a bigger margin? You did not win. You are losing. Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz.
Absolutely.
Iran is inserting
And gonna
itself
charge
as
us.
a massive regional power.
Now they're fees because of you and
had
Bibi
a deal. You lied
Netanyahu.
about that on market manipulation.
Let's talk about
Friday.
it.
Today,
You still lying. You still costing us money. You still costing us money. Why you in there stealing? Now did this all painting catch you with some tartar buildup on your teeth? Did this catch your tartar build up on your bottom teeth? Oh my God, go to the dentist. Oh my God, it caught your tartar build up. Oh my God. Oh, come on. That's, oh. Yeah, oh. It won't, oh.
He's a market manipulation
I wasn't
Friday
expecting
as well. That's
that.
what Donald Trump does on Fridays. Here's what Donald Trump was saying to Greta Van Susteren. Let's play this clip.
Looking at the Iran war, haven't you already won? I mean, isn't it? I mean,
We've already won. We've already won, but I want to win by a bigger margin. But we have destroyed their Navy, destroyed their Air Force, destroyed all of their. If you look at their anti-aircraft equipment, their radar
that's our stuff on the ground. They need to stop lying to you.
Their leadership is destroyed. We've destroyed everything. If we leave right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild if they ever could rebuild. But it's not. It's actually not good enough. We have to have guarantees they will never have a nuclear weapon.
And then I guess after Donald Trump's meeting with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and the head of CENTCOM, Donald Trump's like, you know who I really want to go after again? Jimmy Kimmel. So Greta Van Susteren creates this fake scenario where Jimmy Kimmel apologized to Donald Trump, even though Kimmel didn't apologize.
Everything is a lie.
Let's play this clip.
Question. Jimmy Kimmel has apologized. Is it a good apology? Do you accept the apology?
I haven't heard him apologize, but he's a lowlife. Whether he apologized or not, he's a lowlife. He always has been. He shouldn't be on television. I don't know how a guy can be on television where the network gets free airwaves from the United States government and spend 100% of his time knocking Republicans and conservatives and Trump. 100% of his time.
Because you're sorry, you're useless.
It's not supposed to work that way, equal time provisions, etc., etc. Not supposed to work that way.
And then Greta Van Susteren's like, Steve Witkoff, your envoy who's been handling negotiations, he told me that the U.S. offered Iran enriched uranium for medical purposes if they gave up enriched uranium for purposes of nuclear weapons. Do you like that? And Donald Trump's like, oh, I don't know what that even is about. I never heard of that before. Here, play this clip.
The second thing is that Steve Witkoff told me on this show is that the United States offered Iran to give them enriched uranium so that for medical and powerful purposes, free. if they would give up their nuclear program. Wouldn't cost them a dime, and they declined that, which to me suggested that they really didn't want a deal.
Well, and maybe it wasn't a very serious offer, because I wouldn't have approved that. Yeah, I wouldn't have. I'm not giving them anything. I wouldn't have approved that. They're going to either have a nuclear weapon, or they're not. And if they're not, they're in big trouble. Big. Even bigger than they are right now. And right.
Do you have any clue what's going on around you, Donald? Do you have any clue what's happening at all? Or is all the thing that the only thing you're focused on is building arches and putting your face on passports and dollar bills and whatever the hell you're doing, building more golf outings and golf clubs, whatever the hell you're doing. By the way, here's the latest arch design right here that Donald Trump wants to build. Quadruple the size of what was originally proposed.
Yeah, look at this,
has been met with hesitation, even from a panel stacked with Trump allies, and it has drawn criticism from architects, historians, and veterans. Because it's also going to be like blocking Arlington Cemetery.
Yeah.
Also, Donald Trump's sons have now taken a stake in a Kazakhstan mining company that won a $1.6 billion U.S. contract. I'm sure General Kane and Admiral Cooper very excited about that, Donald. Also, the U.S. Air Force agreed to buy an undisclosed number of interceptor drones from a company backed by Donald Trump's sons, according to the firm, deepening the military's ties to defense contractors linked to the first family. And then Donald Trump's been holding a PGA match at his Doral Golf Club in Miami, and as I reported yesterday, on Thursday at the 18th hole, there was nobody in attendance, quite literally.
Nobody.
0 people attended the PGA tournament that's being hosted at Donald Trump's Miami Doral property. And a lot of the top players didn't even show up either, utterly humiliating for Donald Trump. And by the way, as Donald Trump's life is falling apart, as Trump is spiraling, as his poll numbers are crashing, as MAGA is abandoning him, even Donald Trump's top proxies who are going on CNN and all these other corporate news, they are just getting crushed, and they're getting crushed by Midas Touch Network hosts. Did you see what happened when Donald Trump's proxy, this Scott Jennings guy, was on CNN with Adam Mockler from the Midas Touch Network? Great shout out to Mockler. Make sure you subscribe to Mockler's YouTube channel. Did you see as Jennings was trying to support Trump and defend Trump's never-ending war and Trump's catastrophic unlawful war and Trump's war crimes? Did you see what Mockler did to him? It was chef's kiss. Mockler is just absolutely the best. Here, play this clip right here.
I mean, honestly, they have been at war with us for 47
We all know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat?
Homie, I debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going your way.
Name one political concession. Name one political concession.
Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy. Everybody.
Oh, did he lose it because they losing it?
One political concession. Name one political concession.
Is he losing it? Did he lose it because they are losing it?
6 weeks ago when you said we were weeks
He can't handle the truth.
Remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going your
Name
way.
one political concession. Name one political concession.
Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy.
Everybody, hang tight, okay? No, everybody calm down, okay? We're having
He can't handle the truth. He can't handle the fact that y'all are losing because you followed a loser. And Adam was knocking that ass out with the truth. The truth will set you free. He tried to tell you, dumb slow bunny, long time ago that you was following behind a loser. And your logic didn't make sense then. And guess what, slow bunny? is not making sense now. And now your ass is mad because Adam was whooping that ass in a debate. That's what you get. You got to be smarter than that. Going along to get along. That's what happens. You lose in the end. So don't get mad at me.
You said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going
Name one political concession. Name one political concession.
Get your hand out of my face. Was his hand in your face or was his hands up? They're talking like he can't. You better get your hand on my face. Oh no, you didn't.
Name one political concession. Name one political concession.
His hand wasn't even in his face, y'all. Y'all see that? His hands wasn't even in his face. His hands was in position of up because his belief, his comment, his debate went up and yours went down. He never one time put his hands in your face.
Is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat?
Homie, I debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going
Name one political concession. Name one political concession.
Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy.
Everybody hang tight, okay? No, everybody calm down, okay? We're having a debate.
Wow, see how they lie?
Can you name a political concession that we've got?
We are a flashback to the war the skinheads had in my studio.
I would be mad if I had
You can respond.
We have a very simple goal: to keep terrorists and a terrorist regime from having a nuclear weapon that can threaten the United States.
That they never
Our
had.
interests in the region,
Mate.
our allies in Europe, anybody else
So
in
you
the world.
can't answer the question.
That is
I
our
would get
goal.
mad too.
All right, we're going to leave it there, guys. Next for us, the president suggests ABC.
And then our editor-in-chief,
Wow.
Ron Frankowski, reposted this chart that he previously created of all of the times Donald Trump kept on saying that Iran wants to make a deal badly. February 6th, March 2nd, March 16th, March 24th, March 25th, April 1st, April 13th, April 14th, and then, of course, yesterday during that deranged press conference that Donald Trump had in the Oval Office.
Hey,
as well,
J.R.
Donald Trump,
Jr.
they're begging to make a deal. Iran is dying to make a deal. Here, play this clip.
I mean, Iran is dying to make a deal. I can only tell you that. I don't want to get into this, but they cannot be nuclear other than that. But their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone. Every ounce of any form of equipment practically is gone. You know, their drone factories are about 82% down, and their missile factories are almost 90% down. And many of their missiles have been knocked out. They used some, and we knocked out more than they used. And it's pretty amazing what's happened. They want to make a deal. But despite the fact that we are in what some people would call a war, we just hit a new high today on the stock market. We have S&P is through the roof. They're all, they're through the roof. And
Really, Donald, they're dying to make a deal. Iran's supreme leader yesterday issued the following statements. The only place America belongs in the Persian Gulf is at the bottom of its waters. Iran will protect nuclear capability. Iran will keep Hormuz. Iran will not be surrendering. MB Ghalibaf, Iran's parliament leader during Persian Gulf Day yesterday, said, Iran, by exercising control over the Strait of Hormuz, will ensure that it and its neighbors enjoy the precious blessing of a future free from the presence and interference of America. And then he also referenced how in 1622 AD, after 115 years of occupation, Persia expelled European colonizers from the Persian Gulf. And we celebrate Persian Gulf Day in honor of this victory. Another thing to point out as well, Gavin Newsom won the first big motion against Fox in his defamation case against Fox. And now Gavin Newsom's going to be entitled to discovery regarding Fox and Donald Trump defaming him. Remember, it's a defamation case. Newsom called the National Guard, and then Fox edited out what Newsom said to Donald Trump. and what Newsom said about calling the National Guard to make it look like Newsom was not calling the National Guard. Newsom sued Fox. The court said you can proceed with discovery. That means all of those text messages and communications between Fox and Donald Trump, it's going to be subpoenaed, folks. And Donald Trump's approval polling at record lows at this point. His approval for how people view standard of living amongst independents, like 12%. His overall approval in the AP North poll, 33%. In the Reuters poll, 34%. I mean, historically unprecedented low numbers, the least popular in presidential history, less popular than Nixon at the time that Nixon resigned. There you have it. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Okay, now what did I have next? Because that was bonus. Oh, man. Yeah, this was. Yeah, I need for y'all to get the likes up.
I want you to do something for me before I say another word.
Hit the like button.
I want you to set aside just for a moment whether you voted for this administration or the last one. Because what happened in that Senate hearing room this week, it wasn't a Republican story or a Democratic story. It was an American story. And I think it's one of those moments folks are going to look back on years from now and say, that's where we should have been paying closer attention. I'm Bill Clinton. And let me tell you something.
You approve that message?
I've sat in the Oval Office during hard days. I've signed orders that sent young men and women into harm's way. I've buried soldiers. I've looked their mothers in the eye. So when I tell you that what unfolded between Secretary Pete Hegseth and the Senate Armed Services Committee was unlike anything I've witnessed in my lifetime of public service.
Oh, wow.
I don't say that lightly. I say it because the guardrails, those quiet, unglamorous traditions that hold this republic together, got tested in front of the whole country. And some of them bent in ways I didn't think I'd live to see.
If you frequently need to go to the bathroom late at night, we recommend eating 2 pieces daily. If you need to visit the bathroom multiple times at night, this can be used as a meal replacement. This product is a fig bar with black sesame and cranberry flavor, with not a single drop of sugar added. After my father ate it for a month, the results were remarkable. My mother was very satisfied and purchased 10 more packs. She also eats 2 pieces every day. Most people may not know that figs, black sesame, and cranberries are natural and healthy ingredients. Black sesame is rich in unsaturated fatty acids, and cranberries are rich in anthocyanins. This snack is especially suitable for eating on an empty stomach in the morning. Our black sesame and cranberry flavored fig bar is made using traditional methods and is a seasonal limited edition product. If you miss this opportunity, it may be hard to try it again in the future.
I need for y'all to hit the like button. Double tap the 3 dots at the top right corner.
Here's the honest truth.
Or double tap the face of your screen.
Most folks watching the news only caught the headlines. The shout understand exactly what was being said and what was being refused. So pour yourself a question asked 3 times. But the real story, the story that matters, is buried in the small details. A pause before an answer. A question asked 3 times. A senator, an astronaut who flew combat missions over Iraq, holding up a Pentagon manual the Pentagon itself wrote. And we'll come back to that exchange in a moment, because I want you to understand exactly what was being said and what was being refused. So pour yourself a cup of coffee. Sit with me for a few minutes. Because this isn't about scoring points. This is about whether the institutions we inherited, the ones our grandparents fought for, are going to be handed off to our grandchildren in the same shape we got them. And right now, I've got concerns, real ones. Now, before we get into what was actually said, let me explain in plain English what a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing really is. Because I think the cable news folks have made these things look like a circus, and they shouldn't. They're one of the most important traditions we have. The founders, when they sat down in Philadelphia, were terrified of one thing more than almost any other: a standing army with no civilian leash on it. They just fought a war against a king who used soldiers as his personal instrument. So they did something remarkable. They wrote into the Constitution that the military would always answer to elected civilians. The president commands, but Congress funds, Congress declares, and Congress oversees. That's not a technicality. That's the whole ballgame. When I was president, I worked with two of the finest defense secretaries this country has ever produced, Bill Perry and Bill Cohen. Bill Cohen was a Republican, by the way. I picked him on purpose because I believe then and I believe now that the Pentagon shouldn't feel like a partisan fortress. It belongs to all of us. And every few months, those men would walk up to Capitol Hill, sit in front of senators from both parties, and answer hard questions under oath. Sometimes the questions were unfair. Sometimes the senators grandstanded. But Bill Perry and Bill Cohen understood that hearing room is sacred ground. It's where the people, through their representatives, get to ask the most powerful military on earth, what are you doing in our name? Now here's the situation Secretary Hegseth walked into.
He rebuilding
We've
his
got
money
American
that he's
forces
lost in bad
engaged in
business
active
deals.
combat operations
I
against
know.
Iran. We've got a missile strike on what appears to be a girls' elementary school in the town of Minab. And we'll come back to that school because the numbers matter.
Hi, Valerie. Yeah, I think I need to pause or come back another day or something, because with the amount of people in here, the likes should be up. I don't know what we're doing, but I'm not in that type of mood today. I'm just not. There's other things that I can be doing. And here I am stopping, coming back in here, restarting, pausing when the commercials and stuff come on. I'm moving like y'all supporting me. I'm moving like y'all hitting the like button. I'm moving like you appreciate my efforts, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it by the likes or support, a Cash App, PayPal, whatever. Yeah, I'm not feeling it. So I'm going to say it again real early in the game. Y'all can leave and don't come back. No, I ain't thirsty. So y'all need to let me know when y'all ready. Yeah. I'm too nice.
I'm Bill Clinton, and let me tell you something. I've sat in the Oval Office during hard days. I've signed orders that sent young men and women into harm's way. I've buried soldiers. I've looked their mothers in the eye. So when I tell you that what unfolded between Secretary Pete
Hi,
Hegseth
Bernard.
and the Senate Armed Services Committee was unlike anything I've witnessed in my lifetime of public service, I don't say that lightly. I say it because the guardrails, those quiet, unglamorous traditions that hold this republic together, got tested in front of the whole country. And some of them bent in ways I didn't think I'd live to see. Here's the honest truth. Most folks watching the news only caught the headlines, the shouting, the interruptions, the viral clips. But the real story, the story that matters, is buried in the small details. A pause before an answer, a question asked 3 times. A senator, an astronaut who flew combat missions over Iraq, holding up a Pentagon manual the Pentagon itself wrote. And we'll come back to that exchange in a moment, because I want you to understand exactly what was being said and what was being refused. So pour yourself a cup of coffee. Sit with me for a few minutes, because this isn't about scoring points. This is about whether the institutions we inherited, the ones our grandparents fought for, are going to be handed off to our grandchildren in the same shape we got them. And right now, I've got concerns, real ones. Now, before we get into what was actually said, let me explain in plain English what a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing really is. Because I think the cable news folks have made these things look like a circus, and they shouldn't. They're one of the most important traditions we have. The founders, when they sat down in Philadelphia, were terrified of one thing more than almost any other: a standing army with no civilian leash on it. They just fought a war against a king who used soldiers as his personal instrument. So they did something remarkable. They wrote into the Constitution that the military would always answer to elected civilians. The president commands, but Congress funds, Congress declares, and Congress oversees. That's not a technicality. That's the whole ballgame. When I was president, I worked with 2 of the finest defense secretaries this country has ever produced, Bill Perry and Bill Cohen. Bill Cohen was a Republican, by the way. I picked him on purpose because I believe then and I believe now that the Pentagon shouldn't feel like a partisan fortress. It belongs to all of us. And every few months, those men would walk up to Capitol Hill, sit in front of senators from both parties, and answer hard questions under oath. Sometimes the questions were unfair. Sometimes the senators grandstanded. But Bill Perry and Bill Cohen understood that hearing room is sacred ground. It's where the people, through their representatives, get to ask the most powerful military on earth, what are you doing in our name? Now here's the situation Secretary Hegseth walked into. We've got American forces engaged in active combat operations against Iran. We've got a missile strike on what appears to be a girls' elementary school in the town of Minab. And we'll come back to that school because the numbers matter. We've got allegations of unlawful order are going to be handed off to our grandchildren in the same shape.
And we're not even thinking about grandchildren.
And right now,
I tried to explain to you about the lineage. Who
now,
will it
before we
affect?
get into what was
If
actually
you don't
said,
think it
let me
affects you, what
explain
about your kids?
in plain English what a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing really is. Because I think the cable news folks have made these things look like a circus, and they shouldn't. They're one of the most important traditions we have. The founders, when they sat down in Philadelphia, were terrified of one thing more than almost any other: a standing army with no civilian leash on it. They just fought a war against a king who used soldiers as his personal instrument. So they did something remarkable. They wrote into the Constitution that the military would always, always answer to elected civilians. The president commands, but Congress funds, Congress declares, and Congress oversees. That's not a technicality. That's the whole ball game. When I was president, I worked with two of the finest defense secretaries this country has ever produced, Bill Perry and Bill Cohen. Bill Cohen was a Republican, by the way. I picked him on purpose because I believe then and I believe now that the Pentagon shouldn't feel like a partisan fortress. It belongs to all of us. And every few months, those men would walk up to Capitol Hill, sit in front of senators from both parties, and answer hard questions under oath. Sometimes the questions were unfair. Sometimes the senators grandstanded. But Bill Perry and Bill Cohen understood that hearing room is sacred ground. It's where the people, through their representatives, get to ask the most powerful military on earth, what are you doing in our name? Now here's the situation Secretary Hegseth walked into. We've got American forces engaged in active combat operations against Iran. We've got a missile strike on what appears to be a girls' elementary school in the town of Minab. And we'll come back to that school because the numbers matter. We've got allegations of unlawful orders, of dismantled oversight offices, of officers being removed under questionable circumstances. And we've got a Secretary of Defense raising his right hand, swearing to tell the truth. That's the stage. Now let's talk about what happened on it. All right, let me walk you through what actually happened, slowly and as fairly as I can, because I don't want anyone listening to this to think I'm dressing up opinion as fact. The facts here are damning enough on their own. First, early in the hearing, Secretary Hegseth was asked about the political opposition here at home. And he said, and I'm quoting now, that Democrats are a bigger adversary in this Iran war than Iran itself. Now, I've been called a lot of things in my life, but I've never been called the enemy of my own country by the man running the Pentagon. That's a line, and he crossed it.
Meet Lulu Tox, a breakthrough in hormonal wellness that starts working with your very first morning sip and attacks the root cause of your weight and energy problems in 4 clinically backed ways. 1, liver.
Second, and this is the one that stopped me cold, Senator Mark Kelly, a Navy combat pilot and an astronaut, asked Secretary Hegseth 3 separate times whether he would commit on the record that American troops have a duty to refuse unlawful orders. 3 times.
Refuse unlawful orders.
3 times the Secretary would not give a clean answer. He read from the Pentagon's own war crimes.
Refuse unlawful orders.
Commit on the record that American troops have a duty to refuse unlawful orders. 3 times. And 3 times the Secretary would not give a clean answer. He read from the Pentagon's own war crimes manual, the manual the Department of Defense publishes, and the Secretary still wouldn't say yes.
Wow.
Third, the civilian harm mitigation offices, the people inside the Pentagon whose job is to keep American bombs from landing on schools and hospitals have been cut by roughly 90%, from around 200 staff down to under 40. Politico reported it. ProPublica reported it. The New York Times reported it. Military leaders warned him not to do it. He did it anyway. Fourth, the strike on the girls' school in Minneapolis. According to a letter from Senator Van Hollen and others, that strike killed at least 168 children. 168 little girls sitting in classrooms. Fifth, 4 senior officers, 3 of them black, 1 a woman, had their promotions blocked. The secretary called the process merit-based. And there's more. The Pharisees comment to Jewish senators. The refusal to rule out deploying troops to polling stations. Now look, every one of those is a fact, confirmed, on the record, under oath. And this is where things start to get complicated. Now I want to be careful here, because it would be the easiest thing in the world for me, a Democrat, a former president, to sit here and just tear into Pete Hegseth as a person. That's not what I'm going to do. That's not what this moment calls for. What this moment calls for is something harder. An honest evaluation of his judgment as a leader.
Because it is. This is.
So let me tell you how I look at this. When you sit in that big chair at the Pentagon, you're not a commentator anymore. You're not a podcast host. You're not running a culture war. You are the civilian steward of 2.5 million Americans in uniform and a budget bigger than most nations' entire economies. Every word you say, every single one, gets read in barracks in Okinawa, in submarines under the Arctic, and embassies in Riyadh. Words have weight in that job that they don't have anywhere else. And here's where I think Secretary Hegseth has fundamentally misjudged his role. There is a difference, a profound difference, between disagreeing with the loyal opposition and declaring them the enemy. I disagreed with Newt Gingrich on just about everything. We shut the government down twice fighting about it. But I never once stood at a podium and called him an adversary of the United States. Because the moment a cabinet officer does that, he stops being a secretary of all Americans and starts being a partisan general. And the troops feel that. Believe me, they feel it. The same goes for the unlawful orders question. Look, the right answer takes about 4 seconds. Of course, American service members must refuse unlawful orders. That principle goes back to Nuremberg, and it's the bedrock of our military code. That's it. That's the answer. Every defense secretary I ever knew could have given it in their sleep. The fact that he wouldn't 3 times, that's not toughness. That's a leadership failure of the most serious kind. And I say that more in sorrow than in anger. Now, here's where I want to slow down and talk to you about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention in our politics: the guardrails. The boring, beautiful, indispensable guardrails of American democracy. We've got to remember civilian control of the military, the duty to refuse unlawful orders, and
double tap the face of your screen. Oh, that's what I was hearing. Double tap the face of your phone if that's the device you're listening on, or hit the 3 dots at the top right. I'm an hour and 34 minutes in. I should have over 100 likes by now. Double tap. Or hit the three dots at the top right corner. I'll wait.
Independent Officer Corps, oversight by elected representatives. These aren't Democratic ideas. They're not Republican ideas. They're American ideas. And a lot of them were paid for in blood. The principle that I was just following orders is no defense. That came out of Nuremberg. The Uniform Code of Military Justice, which makes it a crime for an American soldier to obey an unlawful order, that's been the law since 1950, signed by Harry Truman. The Civilian Harm Mitigation Framework, that came out of hard, painful lessons from Vietnam, from Iraq, from Afghanistan. We learned the hard way that when you don't count the civilians, you lose the war for hearts and minds every single time. So when I look at this hearing, I don't see a policy disagreement. Reasonable people can disagree about Iran's strategy. Reasonable people can disagree about Pentagon budgets. What I see is something different. I see cracks forming in the foundation. When you cut the Civilian Harm Office by 90%, you're not making the military more lethal. You're making it more likely that an American pilot doing his job in good faith ends up putting a bomb on a school full of children, because the people whose job was to flag that target before the strike aren't there anymore. That's not lethality. That's negligence dressed up as strength. When you block promotions of qualified officers and the pattern lines up almost perfectly with race and gender, you tell every young captain and major in this country that merit is a slogan, not a system. And when a sitting Secretary of Defense will not promise that troops won't be deployed to polling stations on election day, you have crossed from policy into something that should keep every American awake at night. That's the foundation talking. And right now, it's groaning.
Hey, Belinda.
I've been around politics a long time, longer than I sometimes care to admit. And one of the things you learn after enough cycles is the difference between what looks like strength and what actually is strength. They're not always the same thing. In fact, they're rarely the same thing. Here's the honest truth about Secretary Hegseth's performance. It was designed to look strong. Combative answers, no retreat, insulting the senators questioning him, calling Jewish senators Pharisees, and then when given a chance to walk it back, doubling down, posting AI-generated cartoons, mocking his critics on social media, while at that very moment, families in Manab were burying their daughters in small wooden boxes. That whole posture is calibrated to read as toughness on a podcast.
Yes, ma'am, I'm doing okay.
As somebody who won't back down. But let me tell you something I learned the hard way in 1994, when we lost 54 House seats, and I thought my presidency might be finished. The American people, and I mean the regular folks, the ones in the diners and the church basements and the union halls, they're a lot smarter than the consultants give them credit for. They can smell the difference between a leader who's strong and a leader who's just loud. They can tell when toughness is real and when it's a costume. And cruelty disguised as toughness is the worst polling thing in American politics. I learned that during the impeachment years. People will forgive you for almost anything: failure, weakness, even sin, if you show them a measure of grace afterward. What they don't forgive is meanness for sport. They don't forgive a cabinet officer mocking dead children. They don't forgive name-calling aimed at colleagues' faith. So here's my prediction, and you can write it down. This hearing isn't going to play the way the war room thinks it played. The clips are going to age badly. Suburban women, the voters who decide every modern election, they watched, they saw. And 6 months from now, those numbers are going to start showing up in places nobody expected. All right, so where does all this go from here? Let me put on my old governing hat for a minute and walk you through what I think we're going to see in the weeks and months ahead. Some of this is institutional mechanics. Some of it is just human nature. First, you're going to see subpoenas. The Senate Armed Services Committee has the authority to compel testimony, documents, internal Pentagon communications, after-action reports on the MENAV strike. I'd be shocked if Senator Reid and the ranking members aren't already drafting them. Then comes the Inspector General. The Pentagon IG is independent by statute, and when 168 children are dead, and the office that was supposed to prevent it has been cut by 90%, that's exactly the kind of investigation the IG was created for. Second, and this one worries me more than the politics, watch the resignations. Quiet ones, career officers, 3-star generals, senior civilians at the Pentagon who've served under Republicans and Democrats alike. They don't make a fuss, they don't go on cable, they just put their papers in and go home. And every one of them takes 30 years of experience out the door with them. That's how institutions really die. Not with a bang, but with a slow drip of good people deciding they can't serve in good conscience anymore. Third, our allies are watching. I spent 8 years on the phone with prime ministers and presidents and chancellors. I can tell you exactly what's being said in London and Berlin and Tokyo right now. They're asking, can we still rely on American command discipline? Can we still share intelligence? It's a fair question, and it's not one that gets answered. And fourth, the 2026 midterms. This hearing just rewrote them. Every swing district candidate now has a clip, a soundbite, a moment. That's the political reality. But here's the part nobody's talking about yet, and I want you to really hear me on this. Whatever this administration normalizes, Republican or Democrat, the next administration inherits. President is the most powerful force in Washington. Once you cross a line, the line moves forever.
If you have 5 minutes a day, you can lift sagging skin and refine your jawline with this at-home neck lifting.
Now, I told you at the start of this conversation I'd come back to one moment. So here we are. Let me paint it for you. Senator Mark Kelly, a Navy captain, a combat pilot who flew 39 missions over Iraq, an astronaut who commanded the space shuttle, sitting at that committee dais in his hands a binder, plain blue cover. Inside, the Department of Defense Law of War Manual, the Pentagon's own document, written by the Pentagon for the Pentagon. And he reads slowly the section on the duty to refuse unlawful orders. Across the room sits the Secretary of Defense, and he will not, cannot bring himself to say yes. That's the picture I want you to hold in your mind. Because that, my friends, is America at a crossroads. Not in some abstract way, right there, in one room, a combat veteran reading the Pentagon's own words back to the Pentagon's own leader. I'm not here tonight to call for anybody's resignation. That's not my place anymore, and frankly, that's not what this moment needs. I'm not here to demonize Pete Hegseth as a man. He's a husband, a father, a veteran himself, and I wish him and his family well. I'm here to tell you that the Republic has been through harder days than this and come out the other side. We came through Watergate, we came through Iran-Contra, we came through Abu Ghraib, we came through my own troubles, if I'm being honest with you. Every single time, the country bent, but she didn't break. Because enough citizens, ordinary, decent, thoughtful citizens,
bend don't break,
stayed
baby.
awake. So that's my ask of you tonight. Stay awake.
Stay focused.
Read past the headlines.
Yep.
Watch the hearings yourself. Call your senators, Republican or Democrat, doesn't matter. Tell them civilian control of the military is not a partisan issue, and it never will be. Tell them you noticed. Tell them you're paying attention. America's been at crossroads before, and every single time she's chosen the harder right over the easier wrong when her people demanded it. I believe she'll do it.
So I think only because I just saw it and it just popped up maybe 15 an hour ago since I've been live, I need to go here because it's a bunch going on.
This is the coolest 3-in-1
with the
wireless
military
charger
and Trump.
book. And when I mean coolest,
On
this
top
thing
of
actually is all touch
Iran
activated,
giving
and it has
final
a built-in
warnings.
cooling system. So
And
while you're
these
Folks, pull up a chair.
illegal orders that the military is not supposed to comply. So if they keep complying, then they are the ones who are putting our servicemen and women in harm's way. You're not supposed to comply. Hi, Gary. Will ill-begotten orders by a maniac president. And the timeline, the deadline ends today. So why would you take orders from him? He did not go through the proper chain of command. He did not go through Congress. There are laws in place. So now you are breaking the law. So let's hear this. Y'all get the likes up because I was finna end it. But yeah, it got to fall in sync because this is what they talking about. Let's go.
Folks, pull up a chair.
Pull up a chair and get your
I want
tea.
to talk with you today the way
Get your
I used
tea.
to talk with the country from the Oval Office when something serious was happening.
Let's go.
Not to alarm you, but to level with you.
Let's go.
Here's the honest truth. When a man like Admiral William McRaven, the Navy SEAL who planned and oversaw the raid that brought Osama bin Laden to justice back in May of 2011, when that man steps in front of a microphone and reminds the men and women in uniform about the difference between a lawful order
and
and an
unlawful.
unlawful one, you need to listen. That is not political theater. That is a flare going up over the Republic. Now look, I've known officers like Bill McRaven my whole adult life. They don't speak out lightly. They don't crave the cameras. When they do, it's because the institution they've given their lives to is under stress, and they believe the country deserves to know. We'll come back to exactly what he said in a moment, because the precise words matter. But first, I want you to understand what this story is really about. It isn't about one man in the White House or one admiral at a podium. It's about whether the guardrails our founders built into this democracy, the chain of command, the rule of law, the oath to the Constitution, still hold when they're tested. Today, they're being tested. Let's walk through it together. Now let me set the table for you, because you can't understand the warning without understanding the moment. The country is in the middle of a tense military confrontation with Iran.
Hey, me.
The Strait of Hormuz, that narrow piece of water where roughly a fifth of the world's oil passes through every single day, has spiraled into a crisis. Energy prices are climbing. Working families are feeling it at the pump and at the grocery store. And inside the White House, the president has been using language like no quarter, no mercy, floating ground operations, and at times suggesting strikes on civilian bridges and power stations. We've got to remember something. Words from the Oval Office aren't just words. They travel down the chain of command like electricity through a wire. I learned that the hard way in Bosnia in '95, in Kosovo in '99, when we hit Saddam in Operation Desert Fox in December of '98. Every syllable a commander-in-chief speaks gets translated into orders, into target lists, into young Americans climbing into cockpits. That's why serious presidents weigh their words. That's why we picked our targets one by one, with lawyers, with generals, with allies in the room. Not because we were timid, but because once you cross certain lines, you cannot uncross them.
If you frequently need to go to the bathroom late at night, we recommend eating 2 pieces daily. If you need to visit the bathroom multiple times.
And this is where things start to get complicated, because the rhetoric coming out of this White House isn't just loose. It's pointing toward orders that the law of armed conflict may not permit. That's the world
Hey, Mrs.
Admiral
Tom.
McRaven was speaking into. Let me tell you what the Admiral actually said in plain English so nobody can twist it.
Let's go.
McRaven told American service members 2 things side by side. First, you have an obligation to follow legal orders. That's the foundation of military discipline. Nobody's questioning it. But second, you have an equal obligation not to follow illegal ones. That's not McRaven's opinion. That is settled American military law, going back to Nuremberg, codified in the Uniform Code of Military Justice, taught at every service academy in this country. He pointed specifically to the president's no quarter, no mercy rhetoric, and to the talk of bombing civilian bridges and power stations. Under the Geneva Conventions and the law of armed conflict, deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure with no military necessity can constitute a war crime, period. The young captain or major who carries out McRaven confirmed those conversations are happening right now between senior military officers and the Secretary of Defense. Not in some hypothetical seminar, in real rooms about real targets. Now look, I'm not presenting that as accusation. I'm presenting it as fact. And the
Wow,
truth
let's
is,
go.
this is exactly how the system is supposed to work, even when it's uncomfortable. And here's the part that should make every American sit up straight. McRaven confirmed those conversations are happening right now between senior military officers and the Secretary of Defense. Not in some hypothetical seminar, in real rooms about real targets. Now look, I'm not presenting that as accusation. I'm presenting it as fact. And the truth is, this is exactly how the system is supposed to work, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's painful. The uniform isn't loyal to a person. It's loyal to the Constitution. Now let's talk strategy, because this is where leadership really gets tested. McRaven made 3 points that every commander-in-chief since Eisenhower has had to grapple with. 1, Iran is 2.5 times the size of Texas.
Insurance companies are trying to remove a viral social media video that claims people involved in a car accident.
2, we have never, not once in our history, bombed our way to victory. 3, even if you remove the supreme leader, Israeli intelligence suggests the next regime could be more hardline, not less. Those aren't partisan talking points. Those are lessons paid for in American blood. I wrestled with them myself when I chose restraint over ground troops in places where the strategic objective wasn't clear. And then there's the Hormuz trap. We'll come back to why this matters so much. Closing that strait was the most predictable move on Iran's chessboard. Every war game in the Pentagon for 30 years has run that scenario. Yet according to McRaven, we came in essentially too late. That's not bad luck. That's a planning failure. Here's where it gets sobering. General Wesley Clark, former NATO Supreme Commander, has reported that our Tomahawk inventory has fallen below 50%. We've burned through roughly a third of our ballistic missile intercept capacity. Nearly half our THAAD interceptors are gone. Those weapons take years to replace. When you spin the covered bear without a clear end game, that's not strength. That's strategic overreach. And it leaves America exposed in every other corner of the world. Now we come to the heart of it. And I want you to listen closely, because this is the part that outlasts any single president. In the last year, roughly 30 general officers have been fired or forced out. 30. Let that sink in. McRaven called it a cascading effect on morale. Senior officers now afraid to speak truth to power, afraid to walk into the Oval Office and say, "Mr. President, I respectfully disagree." Let me tell you something from my own time. I served with General Shalikashvili, with General Hugh Shelton, with Colin Powell before then. There were days those men told me things I did not want to hear. And thank God they did. Because a president who only hears what he wants to hear makes worse decisions every single time. That's not Democratic wisdom or Republican wisdom. That's American wisdom, older than either
Peter
party.
Rogers.
When you purge the officer corps for honesty, you don't get loyalty. You get silence.
I'm sorry.
and silence at the top of the Pentagon is how nations stumble into wars they can't win. McRaven also raised something close to my heart, the dismantling of USAID. He called it vital to America's soft power, and he's right. After the 2004 tsunami, after Haiti's earthquake, our military and our aid workers built friendships that paid us back tenfold. Compassion isn't woke, it's strategy. It's how America wins without firing a shot. I saw it work in Northern Ireland, in the Balkans, in Haiti. We're throwing that inheritance away. Here's the honest truth about alliances. You cannot run a coalition by surprise and a couple of tweets. General Clark put it plainly. NATO partners are democracies. They answer to parliaments, to voters, to public opinion. They aren't the 51st through 80th American states. They are sovereign countries with their own constituencies, their own histories, their own red lines. When you launch an operation nobody heard about, and then expect London and Paris and Berlin to jump on board the next morning, that isn't leadership. That's improvisation dressed up as strategy. Now look, I lived this. When we built the Dayton Accords in '95 to end the war in Bosnia, when we assembled the Kosovo Coalition in '99, that was phone calls at midnight. It was sharing intelligence we didn't have to share. It was treating the Brits and the French and the Germans like partners, not like employees. It took patience. It took trust. And trust, my friends, is the most expensive thing in foreign policy because it takes a generation to build and a single morning to burn.
This incredible mold remover gel can restore your bathroom and tiles to their original shine in just 15 minutes. This incredible product eliminates stubborn mold and mildew in seconds without any scrubbing. Take any moldy surface, apply the gel directly, and watch the mold literally dissolve before your eyes. Its patented NanoNet technology penetrates deep into even the toughest black mold, breaking it down at its root. It also leaves behind an invisible protective barrier to prevent future mold growth, keeping surfaces looking brand new without painful scrubbing or harmful toxic chemicals. It was invented by a renowned but frustrated chemist dealing with a universal problem, mold that just wouldn't budge. His shower and bathroom tiles were covered in stubborn black mold, and he refused to spend...
Could I get y'all to hit the like button?
Clark says the British and the French are still coming along, but only through proper NATO channels, not through Twitter announcements. That's a small mercy, and we should be grateful for it. But understand this, America has always rested on two pillars, our military and our credibility. You can rebuild a missile stockpile in 3 or 4 years. You cannot rebuild credibility that fast, not even close. So where does this road lead? Let me lay out 3 forks for you plainly. The first is the strategic fork. Professor Robert Pape at the University of Chicago, a serious scholar, not a partisan, warns that Iran is now likely laying the groundwork for nuclear weapons over the next year or so. They're working with Pakistan, who helped them with centrifuges before. They're working with Russia. Pape's chilling line: Iran is working with its allies better than we are working with ours. Think about that. The very thing the strikes were meant to prevent may have been accelerated. The second is the constitutional fork. If illegal orders are issued and officers either follow them or are punished for refusing, we enter territory this republic has not seriously visited before, not since the founding. That's not hyperbole. That's the warning every constitutional scholar I respect is sounding right now. The third is the economic fork. A closed Strait of Hormuz crushes global energy markets. It crushes household budgets in Akron and Phoenix and Little Rock. McRaven himself said the world economy only picks back up when that strait reopens. And Iran has offered a deal. Lift the blockade, open the strait. That deserves serious consideration, not a tweet. Each fork is still avoidable, but only with course correction. And course correction requires honesty at the top. So let me close with this, friend to friend. This isn't about left or right. It never was. It's about whether the institutions our founders built, imperfect, stubborn, beautiful institutions, still function the way they were meant to. The military takes an oath to the Constitution, not to any one man. That sentence is the whole ballgame. The Congress, not the President, holds the power to declare war. Article 1, Section 8, plain as day. The press has a duty to ask hard questions, even when it's unpopular. And we, the citizens, have a duty to pay attention.
Factz.
Not just on Election Day, every
Too
day.
wasted.
Admiral
To
McRaven
type,
did his
listen,
duty
no.
when he stood up and reminded our service members what the law
Too
requires.
wasted.
General
To
Clark
type,
did his
listen, no.
when he told the
Listen,
truth
yes.
about our
Hi,
depleted
Gap Pack.
readiness. Professor Pape did his when he warned us where this is heading. Now it falls to the rest of us to do ours. Here's what I want you to take away. America has corrected course before. We did it after Vietnam. We did it after Watergate. We did it after the financial collapse in 2008. We are not a country that breaks easily. We are a country that bends and remembers and rises. We've still got time. We've still got each other. And we've still got a Constitution that has outlasted every storm thrown at it for 250 years. Take care of yourselves. Take care of this country. God bless you.
God bless America. Sweet home. God bless America. My own sweet home. What did I have? Did I play this one?
A top retired 4-star admiral is giving an urgent warning to our military members to be very careful not to follow unlawful orders, to be very careful
Who gave these
regarding
orders?
any potential. 'Cause. 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 '
Let's go, Ben. I'm leaving with you. Let's go. Who gave the orders?
A top retired four-star admiral is giving
Okay.
an urgent warning to our military members to be very careful not to follow unlawful orders, to be very careful regarding any potential invasion of Karg Island or Iran, or to further escalate matters, to be very circumspect in the role of the United States military in protecting, preserving, and defending our democracy. The importance of both our hard power, but even more significantly, our soft power, or whatever pretextual reasons the Trump regime gives to try protecting, preserving, and defending our democracy. The importance of both our hard power, but even more significantly, our soft power, and the danger being caused to our country where we sacrifice all of our soft power because the Trump regime thinks this is woke, or that it is inclusive, or whatever pretextual reasons the Trump regime gives to try to destroy critical programs like USAID. And folks, an admiral, decorated, 4-star, one of the most decorated in American military history, talking about the importance of being compassionate, empathetic, supporting immigrants, supporting diversity. This is one of the most powerful warnings I've seen recently, and it comes from an individual by the name of Admiral McRaven. You probably know Admiral McRaven, William McRaven, from the incredible commencement speech he gave. Probably remember it. I'll show it to you in a little bit as well. At the University of Texas in 2014, where he served as one of the leaders of the University of Texas. You probably know him because he is the admiral who led at the highest level the raid in 2011 that led to Osama bin Laden being captured and killed by our Navy SEALs. For over 3 decades, going on 4 decades, Admiral McRaven himself was the most decorated Navy SEAL out there. And in 2018, when Donald Trump was on a rampage, firing CIA Director Brennan and others, you had McRaven step up and basically said, take away my security clearance if you're going to go after Brennan. And he really asserted himself in a way that I'm not sure lots of people remember, but Admiral McRaven has been very outspoken. And right now, he's lending his voice right now at a critical juncture. So I want to share with you what he said recently. And then I want to share with you former NATO commander, General Wesley Clark, and what he's had to say, because you look at both of these individuals with decorated military backgrounds, and they are giving these urgent warnings that need to be heard right now. Set aside all the gamesmanship and the politicking and all of that. Let's just focus on what experienced military leaders, some of the most experienced who are still living, are saying right now. So first I want to share with you what Admiral William McRaven had to say in this powerful interview that he just gave. And when he was asked about, well, what about the idea that's being floated right now of further escalating the war in Iran, putting boots on the ground, what say you, retired Admiral McRaven? Watch this.
Certainly not recommend putting boots on the ground. One, people sometimes underestimate the size of Iran. I'm from Texas, Walter, and Iran is 2.5 times the size of Texas. And I try to explain to people, look, that's like telling people that you're going to put Marines in West Texas and expect them to move all the way to Houston. This is just, it's hard to do. Could we take Karg Island? Yeah, we probably could, but it would be very risky to do so. I don't see putting boots on the ground as a real option. Not to say the president won't, but I don't really know what it would gain him. What I have been saying from day one was that if the Iranian regime survives, Iran wins. And so right now, the president's in a very difficult position.
And stop lying to the people.
Unless there is a collapse of the regime and a more moderate theocracy, or some other
stop misleading the people.
Back to your question, Are we any better off than we were prior to February 28th? Well, we have decimated their Navy. We have decimated their Air Force. We have certainly put back their nuclear program. But how much better off are we? I think that remains to be seen.
More from retired Admiral McRaven right here regarding Donald Trump and Hegseth purges of top military leaders, right? Whether it's former Army Chief of Staff, Randy George, whether it is the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs, C.Q. Brown, whether it's other top leaders. Take a listen to what Admiral William McRaven had to say here. Play this clip.
I am concerned, of course, in the last year, the president has either fired or asked to retire somewhere around the neighborhood of 30 general officers. This has a cascading effect on the morale.
So y'all just not gonna hit the like button.
Not so much the junior officers and the junior enlisted, but it does have an impact on the senior officers.
Is that what y'all telling me?
And I am concerned that
you're not gonna double tap the face of your phone or hit those three dots at the top right. Y'all not gonna do it?